Let's review our Sunday school lesson for today. Today we begin a brand new quarter. This is our spring quarter for the months of March, April, and May 2024. And our quarter is entitled Examining Our Faith. In this quarter, we're going to be asking some questions about our faith and if our faith is in God or in other things or people. Today we begin the first unit number 1 for the month of March, and it is entitled Faithful versus Faithless. That is faithful, F-U-L-L, versus faithless, L-E-S-S. This is a group of 5 lessons from the book of Jude, 2 Corinthians, 1 Peter, Acts, and the book of Mark that will invite us as learners to turn the challenges of life into opportunities to nourish a vibrant faith that doesn't give up, turn away from God, nor reject the faith. Our first lesson for this brand new quarter and the first unit for the month of March is entitled Build Yourselves Up. March the 3rd, 2024. Our printed passage today is Jude 17. Jude, there's only one chapter, verse 17 through 25. And there's our print passage for today. Now, as we consider the Sunday school lesson today and the writings of Jude, Jude is one of those New Testament epistles that is written in the first 100 years after Jesus' death, burial, and resurrection and ascension. And in this first 100 years, the church and the believers are under attack. Everything from everywhere is challenging their faith in Jesus. Some are staying faithful and some are turning away from the faith. But these are the words of Jude today, that now is the time, even in these last days type of times, in which there's so much going on, in which people are turning from the faith, believing all type of stuff and running after all type of stuff. Jude simply tells us that now is the time to build up yourselves on your most holy faith. In this life and in these end times, people are running after and believing a little bit of everything. And if it's not already out there for them to believe in, many of them are just creating it and believing in it, and thus are not believing in God. So Jude encouraged us, now is the time, in the midst of unbelief, in the midst of turning away, now is the time to stand on and to build on your most holy faith. So how can we do that? 2 ways. Number 1, we must be aware that there are things that will pull us away from God. There are things that will seem enticing. There are things that will seem inviting. There are things that will seem luring, trying to take us away from putting our faith in God. Verse number 18 and 19 tells us that these things are trying to pull us away from having a full trust and belief in God. Part of that is our own lust, the very thing that we so desire, in which many times we know is not right, but we desire it. We want it. We've got to have it. We can't go without it. We have such a yearning and passion, but it's not of God. And so we find ourselves so many different times running after what we desire, but it does not line up with God's word. And so we have our own lust, and then there are things that we know even from our own lust, and then there are other things that separate us from being close to God. Those things that we raise up in our lives that we love more than we love God, those things, as well as our own lust, we follow after those things, and those things simply pull us away from God instead of drawing us close to God. So we have to stay close to God. That's the second thing. Verse number 21, it tells us to keep yourselves in the love of God. And that means an intimate, close relationship. That means do not allow things to push you away from God, but rather be close to him, to feel his love, to feel his warmth, to feel his embrace. And by doing that, it ensures that nothing is able to pull us away from him, and that we can have the type of faith that comes with that relationship of trusting somebody, that type of faith that comes from your belief in somebody and what they say. And you can only have that in a close knit relationship. It has to be one in which that relationship is near to you and near to God. And so many times in the Bible, it tells us that if we would draw near to God, he will draw near to us. So many times it tells us that he hears the cry of his people. So many times it tells us that he knows our pains and sorrows because he cares for us. He's always near. And so we have to draw close to him. And in order for your faith, as we conclude, and in order for your belief, and in order for your trust in God to grow and to build on it, you have to be close in a relationship with him. It is my prayer that we can get closer and closer and closer and closer and closer and closer to God through every experience in life. Then it's easy to trust him. Then it's easy to believe in him. And then it's easy to have faith